I'm Kerry Lutz, and today is April 21st, 2020, and I'm here with Nick Santiago for your Daily Market Wisdom, and this is show number 17. And Nick, did you ever think you would be alive when people would actually pay you to take oil off their hands?
No, I can't believe what we witnessed yesterday. That was quite something, and I never in a million years thought I would see anything like that. In fact, it's the first time it's ever happened, from what I understand. So it was pretty interesting. Again, that contract expires today at 2:30. That May contract, which right now I guess it's actually positive now by $3, so $3.60 on that May contract. But the June contract is getting hit today. That is down about 27%, which is a $5.50 decline, trading just around $15 a barrel right now. So pretty amazing stuff. But this all goes back to the economy being shut down, nobody's driving their cars, and basically you get things started up again in this country, which I think they should start up soon. We're getting some states to start now. That's a real positive, and then you'll start to see oil move back up, and watch what we could get by the summertime. You could see oil back around $35-40. I would not rule that out.
Yeah, well, you got to figure once people are relieved of confinement from their homes, from your home, then what are you going to do? You might not hop on airplanes so quick, but you're certainly going to hop on the car and take a drive someplace just to get away, someplace, somewhere. Probably hop on the plane too, but that'll take perhaps a little more time.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are getting really stir crazy, and they're ready to get out. I think people are willing to fly, provided they have a little bit of a safety measure in there. And we talked about it on these shows here, where if you could put a 5-minute test out there and say everybody that gets on the plane right now has not tested positive for coronavirus, that would certainly help ease the nerves, and I think airplanes would start to fill up pretty rapidly. My wife has already bought 2 airplane tickets, and we can't even order them online. You have to actually call the airline now, so it's kind of strange to see that. But we're looking to go away. We're not really concerned about it. I think we're going to find out that you could do a lot of things to stay healthy, even if you contracted the virus, to really be one step ahead of it. And honestly, the numbers are not. I don't think the numbers are much worse than the flu. So it's really, I think, a little bit overblown as far as the fear goes. I don't want to understate the deaths and everything. We've talked about that on here, but I mean, the flu kills sometimes 50,000 people a year. So I mean, it's quite something to see that we're going through this full shutdown of the economy, so to speak. But when things pick up, you'll see oil pick up. You'll see business get back up on its feet. And I think the markets will go a lot higher. We've already bounced, 50% from the February. The spiders, the S&P 500 has already bounced 50% from the February top to the March low. So we've already had a great bounce. And what we're doing now is digesting these gains. And that's what we're seeing right here. But the oil story is absolutely something that I've never seen before.
Yeah, so can you just explain exactly why oil is trading at a negative price? I don't think many of you out there really understand.
So what happened with this May contract, which expires today, is that if you're a commercial oil producer, just say you're, Kerry Lutz's oil company, and you're a commercial producer of, you sell crude, you get crude, and then you sell it on the open market. Basically, what happened was there was no bid underneath it, so nobody wanted it because they cannot store it anywhere. So if you take a look at Cushing, Oklahoma, they're full. They're at capacity. There's no place to store another barrel of crude oil in the United States. We have so much of it. So what happens is the price just completely plunged, and then it actually went negative. I think the CME, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, said it could go negative, which means the producers are willing to pay somebody to take it off their hands. So if you have a big backyard with an Olympic-sized swimming pool and you got the right permits, perhaps you could have taken some of that crude, and they would have paid you to take it yesterday. So It's pretty extraordinary when it's all said and done. But that's exactly what happened. We just really ran out of storage capacity.
Amazing. And if you own a quarry that's no longer in use, that would probably be a good use for it. Just fill it up. You could buy it. They'll pay you to probably to put in 20 million gallons, and and then they'll pay you to store it. Uh, Man, it's really rather shocking. You'd think in that situation they would have a way to get out of the contracts, force majeure or something like that, but evidently not, huh?
Evidently not. And I think the president came out a little bit earlier today, and he basically said that he's open or he's going to bail out. They're working on a program now to bail out a lot of these oil companies that are going to go out of business due to this negative price. So we'll see what comes out of that. Right now, we're living in seems like bailout nation. We got another small business program being passed today, or at least it's expected to be passed. But eventually, these things. The only solution here for all of this is to really get back up and running, and to open up the country. I mean, maybe we have to quarantine the elderly and quarantine the people with pre-existing conditions and let the rest of the country run. If you do
Yeah.
that, you're going to get your oil price up and you get people back to work. But I'm not so sure a lot of people are willing to do that just yet with all the fear that we have out here. So
Yeah.
it's going to be pretty interesting to see how this shapes out. But, like I said yesterday, I'm long the USO oil. That's not, and they have contracts that go out into the future. And I own the call options on that. That's the way to play it if you're going to do it. This way, you only risk in the premium paid. And I took the $5 strike, and I have the October call. So plenty of time on the clock. If oil recovers, that should make me a nice profit.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. It's it can't stay, the old saw, the best cure for low prices is low prices, right? And they're going to be shutting down wells, obviously, certainly the high cost ones in Canada, in Alberta, and like North Dakota and Texas. A lot of the really expensive fracked wells, they just can't exist for under $45 a barrel for that long. They were already hurting, and now it just got that much worse. But hey, the good news is that our nightmare is coming to an end. They're reopening states, and that has to be good for everything.
I think it is. I mean, Georgia is going to be a little bit of an experiment here, and I think a lot of states will take its cue from Georgia because it's a pretty populated state. Atlanta is a very, very dense city,
Mm,
so we'll see, what comes out of it and how it works. But just this weekend in Florida, we saw Jacksonville beaches open up, and
right.
people looked very, very excited to get
Hmm.
back outside, and I think. The mayor over there tweeted out that things went really, really well. They were very happy with the way things were. So, we'll start to see that. People cannot be confined for too long because you'll get civil unrest. And believe me,
We're seeing it.
yeah, we're seeing it. You're seeing it with the protests too. I mean, people need to get out. They need to socialize. It's just who we are. We're as human beings. We're not meant to be, confined. And we'll see how it goes. But Georgia is definitely going to be a test plan. I believe Tennessee and South Carolina have also announced plans to reopen their economies as well. And theirs goes two more states, South Carolina, um, also a coastal state like Georgia. So we'll see how that works out. But everybody will be, eyeing those two states to see how it goes. I have a feeling it's going to go pretty well.
All right. Hey, so uh, looking at gold and silver, they were really slammed in overnight trading. Gold was down $30 the ounce. Silver's down half a buck. Is it setting up for the next move into the GDX?
Yeah, it is setting up. In fact, gold as we speak is only down 10 now. It was
Yeah.
down, like you said, much, much more earlier. And then, if you look at, say, the GDX, that's down 44 cents. And, like I said on your program, when I got out of that, and that was on the 9th of April, with 18.5% gain in a little over a week on the second half position, what I said was it needs to pull back and it needs to consolidate. And that's exactly what it's doing right now. So I want to see more of it because we went up into a pretty big level when it went above 32. So now if you look at the GDX, you just let it consolidate a little bit more. But yeah, there's another trade in there. on a bit more of a pattern. Then when you look at gold futures, they're basically doing the same thing. They went up and spiked, and we talked about it when they got, people don't realize, but overnight on the 14th of April, gold went up to 1788. So it had to pull back because it went parabolic, and we talked about that pattern a lot on this program. When markets do that, they need to come back in, and that's exactly what it's done. So I like the setup on both gold and gold miners to go higher. They both need a little bit more backing and filling first, but they are setting up to go higher overall.
All right. Well, interesting times ahead, that's for sure. And the oil play, we're really watching that closely to see what happens. Anyway, you want to find out more, just go over to inthemoneystocks.com. You can check out Nick's up-to-the-minute trading record. A lot of interesting free material there for you to educate yourself about the markets, and some great offers as well. And any questions or comments or opinions where you see the market heading, where do you think oil is going to be in a month or 2 months? Why don't you email us, kl@kerrylutz.com. That's kl@kerrylutz.com. Nick, we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you, Kerry.
This is your dose of daily market wisdom with master trader Nick Santiago. Starting from humble beginnings, Nick has been beating the markets for over 2 decades. He shares with you his take on the profitable trades that will have you moving towards financial freedom in no time at all. To see an in-depth review of his track record and much more, go to inthemoneystocks.com.